Hello, Patreon friends. Welcome to another week here of Professor Moptop, which is me. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. As always, thank you a million times over. This week you're going to be getting 4 hunks of audio about the first 3 songs from the Sgt. Pepper album. As I always say, when all else fails, there's Sgt. Pepper. The first track on the album is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and there was a bit of a theme or a concept that the Beatles had in mind, and that the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band would be playing, and then each and every song would be a different band. Granted, the actual concept of the album doesn't really go much further than the first song. It's still kind of a neat concept to think about. At the time, they had all the time in the world to record as much as they wanted. They're doing something next door. We're going to have to deal with it. They had all the time in the world to record as much as they wanted. And Paul and Mal Evans were flying on a plane, and they were talking about Salt and Pepper, and Salt and Pepper turned into Sgt. Pepper, and then Sgt. Pepper turned into Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which was kind of like some of the longer-sounding hippie band names, like the Jefferson Airplane, or the Incredible String Band, or the Quicksilver Messenger Service. From that, they started writing about Sgt. Pepper. On February 1st of 1967, at 7 at night, which was starting time for most of the Sgt. Pepper sessions, was when they started recording the song. They eventually finished it over a month later by adding 4 French horns to it, and then way late in the sessions, they pieced it together with the second track on the album, which is with a little help from my friends. When they ended Sgt. Pepper, they left it open-ending, and they weren't sure what they were going to put next. You'll hear all about how the recordings work, how the sound effects are placed. Some of the recordings are from the Day in the Life sessions, which were before Sgt. Pepper was recorded. On the record as well, Paul McCartney plays the rhythm guitar, while John played a bass, which was then overdubbed by a second guitar from Paul, and Paul also plays the lead guitar on it. So Paul McCartney plays 2 guitars and the bass on the title track of the Sgt. Pepper record. The second cut is the Ringo cut. I love the Ringo cuts. They're always fun. They're always interesting. After the Yellow Submarine song on Revolver was so widely accepted by so many fans, they decided to keep going with the fact that they shouldn't just consider them just songs. They needed to put some work into the Ringo songs. They wrote it specifically for Ringo, charming and upbeat. At one point, it was called the Badfinger Boogie. They remembered that name when they renamed the band the Ivies, Badfinger, later in the decade. If you're not getting enough Badfinger in your life, make sure you listen to more Badfinger. The drums are microphoned especially close on the track. You can hear this especially in between the verses. Ringo's really hitting the drums especially hard, and they're mic'd especially close, so they seem especially up front. When Ringo did the vocals for the song, it was when the sun was coming up. That's kind of a nice thing, and it's a universal message of getting help from friends. There's always been debate over the years about when they sing about getting high, are they talking about getting uplifted from their friends, spiritually, or are they talking about something more sinister, like drug use? And speaking of the Beatles and possible drugs, our next song is the third song on the album, and it's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Now, John Lennon claims that he got a drawing from his son Julian, and it was a strange woman dancing in the sky, and he asked Julian what it was, and young Julian said Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And then John showed that to Paul, and the two of them started writing very abstract lyrics to go with the song, and they wanted it to be really strange and unusual and not about love. That's what they were really striving for throughout the Sgt. Pepper sessions. They had newspaper taxis and marmalade skies. They had to kind of write a song around it. There's all kinds of tape speed manipulation that you'll hear about. There's a bunch of keyboards on the track. And to John's dying day, when asked the question, does Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which is LSD, specifically stand for LSD, John would consistently tell the story about Julian Lennon and the drawing. Up until his very last interview, he was asked this question, and he was very consistent about it, and John was very open about using drugs and taking drugs and enjoying drugs. I always feel like if Lucy in the Sky with Diamond was written about LSD, that John would brag about it and want to tell everyone about it. Sadly, we will never know, but we will have the music that will be here forever. Thank you very much always. I hope everyone enjoys their audio. I will talk to you in a week.